They've given a deadline of September 24, but they've not addressed the question of statehood. They've left it to the center, which has said that we will do it at an appropriate time. Is that Satyapal Jain a cop-out? You see, the court has given, in that sense, some would say, a very conservative judgment. They have chosen not to confront the center and respected, some would say, Parliament's powers to decide whether a state becomes a union territory. But today, it's happened with Jammu and Kashmir. Tomorrow, it could happen with any other part of the country. Should that not be a matter of concern for you?
It cannot. No, not at all. Please try to understand the issue. The Supreme Court in its judgment, which is made available about 2 hours earlier. I have not been able to go through the entire judgment. But in the very beginning, their lordships framed about 25-30 questions that arose for consideration before the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court also says that the basic issue in the case is the abrogation of Article 370. And Article 370, subclause 3 itself gave the power to the President of India to modify, abrogate, whatever it wanted to do, it could do it. The only thing was whether it was to be done after consulting the Constituent Assembly of the state or not. And the Supreme Court has said after the merger of the Jammu and Kashmir accession into India, the Constituent Assembly stand dissolved. Therefore, all those powers now, there is no question of consulting that all. So far as I am not able to understand this argument that today it has been done in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, it can be done in the case of other state also. No, it cannot be, because whatever has been done in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, it is an exercise of the powers conferred on the President of India or the Parliament of India under Article 370. So where the other states are concerned, they are governed by various provisions of the Constitution of India. S.R. Bomai's case, Chaurasia's case, Bihar, the dissolution of the assembly, president rule and all that.
Shadad, you don't agree with that. At the end of the day, what this court judgment is doing is reflecting a certain separation of powers. The court is very clear. We do not want to intervene beyond the point in Parliament's jurisdiction to take a decision under Article 370.
No, so first aspect on 370, let's leave that out. The conversion of state to UT is not at all governed by 370. Let us be clear. That was an exercise carried out exclusively under Article 3 of the Constitution, correct? And whatever interpretation the Supreme Court has given there will equally apply to each and every other state in India. That was the state to UT conversion had nothing to do with Article 370. That's the second point. That's why whatever interpretation the Supreme Court gives there will equally apply to every other state in India. Now on that, the power to extinguish a state completely, does it exist or not? The Supreme Court has not answered. It has actually refused to answer that question. That was a very important question which was directly faced with the court. Now, when you don't give a timeline, what has the Supreme Court said? September 24 for elections as UT, correct? Now, September 24, let's say elections to UT happen. Now, if a new UT assembly is elected, after that, you will have 4 or 5 years of the UT assembly. So there is effectively what the Supreme Court has done is 1 year for election as a UT, and thereafter maybe 4 years, 5 years, whatever, that UT assembly continues, and once it extinguishes, then state elections will be held, the state reconversion happens in state. So I am quite disappointed on the aspect of state, because there the question was directly before the court, and in my respectful view, the court should have answered that instead of relying upon a statement by a law officer.
One last point very quickly, is this now irrevocable? In that sense, Satyapal Jain, do you believe that we cannot go back? There can be no turning the clock back.
So far as, see, two issues. So far as 370 is concerned, it's all karwa guzar gaya, gubar dekhte rahe. That is gone now. But so far as the issue of creation of states is concerned, the Indian Parliament is the supreme authority for doing that. They have been creating states, dissolving states earlier also. This power is vested in Parliament. We should have faith in Parliament, which consists of representatives from all sections of society, all states. We should have faith in Parliament. Court has left it to the discretion of the Parliament, and I hope the Government of India's assurance that they want to restore the statehood as early as possible, and as reiterated by the Honorable Home Minister in Parliament today, the government means what it says.
Shadad, do you believe that, in a sense, what about the representatives of the people of Jammu and Kashmir? You heard Omar Abdullah. They do not have any agency in this entire decision making.
Yeah, so see, as far as Article 370 is concerned, whether one likes it or not, I think that part of the legal chapter at least, is over. But the question is, can there be another autonomy of a different form? within the sphere of the existing constitution with respect to land rights, such as it's there in Himachal, it's there in something that can be considered at a different point in time, I guess. But as far as 370 as we knew, I do agree that that part is over.
Okay.
Statehood with certain special kind of provisions which are there for a whole different host of states in India, such as, all our hill states have special provisions with respect to land, etc. That is possibly conceivable even by this government, maybe by a future government, whatever. But 370 as we know it, I do agree that that chapter is possibly now at its end.
Okay.